with Damon. My very special guest today is Coleman Goode. He is the community manager at AIDS Foundation Chicago.
Yes.
The formerly organization known as AIDS Foundation of Chicago, but now there's no of, it just is.
Just is, yes.
Welcome to the tub, Coleman.
Thank you.
It's so good to be here, and it's great to be in Chicago. I'm sitting in a tub with you right now.
Great to be here on a Sunday morning.
It's a Sunday. We're in a tub. All is good at this moment.
Yeah, I'm happy. I feel good.
So, first thing I want to ask you is what...
I want to move my leg.
Oh yeah, make
Get
you
a
so
little
comfortable. Yeah. What do you like most about your body?
I'm gonna say my hair.
What do you like?
You
about
know,
your hair?
I like 'cause I can like change it up. I can do whatever I want with. Sometimes I have dreadlocks. Sometimes I get it braided. It's just
Do they represent different energies for you or
Yeah.
different feelings for you?
different feelings. I mean, RuPaul said it best. Black hair is a revolution.
Yeah.
So
Say more about that.
Yeah, it's just kind of a way of expressing myself and
Uh-huh.
a way of constantly keeping change and also kind of embracing my roots. And you know, sometimes I have an afro and I want to go for that like power Angela Davis look.
And what does this look say today?
Oh, this look just says, I'm embracing my grays, you know, trying not to embracing my age, and just, yeah, it's kind of a little throwback to my childhood.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, we were talking about, there's been so much struggle. I mean, there's always struggle in the world. There's been especially a lot of struggle. You have been very open. If people aren't aware, you have been very generously sharing parts of your life, helping people for at least 10 years now. Can you share with us a little bit more about your backstory, about how you came to be the activist and the community compassionate person you are today?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, I think what happened to me in my youth, growing up, poor, and dealing with that in Texas, and not feeling like I fit in, because growing up gay, black in Texas was very interesting in a town of 2,000 people.
Were you like the only black person in that town?
I wasn't, but all of us were related.
Okay.
It was probably, like I said, 2,000 people. There might have been 150 black people.
Wow. What was that like?
It was very lonely and it was very confusing, because I just thought I was a normal person, but people kind of kept pointing out that my blackness made me different. Then you add the whole gay thing in there. Whew, that was a whole different,
So was that delivered in the form of like bullying or?
A lot of bullying, a lot of name calling, a lot of, using the N-word, and which really played into like my depression, and played into like I had very bad body image issues, like from a very young age, and issues with food. I never always felt like there was something wrong with my body.
What would you say when you were thinking there was something wrong with your body?
I was fat, or I wish I wasn't black, or it got really to be some dark places for me, and it kind of plagued mine heading into adolescence and my young adulthood.
And did you have any adults or mentors that were there to help you see that you were good, or you were beautiful, or you were going to be okay?
I think people said those words, but I think I didn't believe them. My mom said, you can be anything you want to be, and it was just a hard time, I didn't have a father figure. He was not really there very much, so there wasn't a lot of reinforcements.
So then how did that depression then manifest through your adolescence and 20s?
I was probably suicidal from like 16, but I didn't talk about it. I actually thought everyone felt the way I felt, because I was also taught not to talk about your feelings. So when you're told not to really discuss your feelings, and you're just kind of told to bottle them up, that's kind of what I did until I started drinking at a very young age. I started drinking when I was 15. Yeah. It was Boone Farm Strawberry Hill wine. I remember it. I can laugh at it today. I can laugh at my adolescent, I was rebelling and trying to I don't know, find joy.
Well, right, because those feelings don't just go away. We can kind of push it. It's kind of like a beach ball. You can push them down, but they're not going anywhere.
Eventually they're gonna pop up.
Yeah.
They're gonna pop up. And
so then drinking was kind of a respite, kind of an escape.
It was. I got to college, and then I stopped drinking and started having lots of sex.
Okay.
That became something for me.
How about other drugs?
Other drugs came later when I was in my late 20s. I did cocaine for the first time. I did all the party drugs because I thought that's what being a young gay man we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go out, we're supposed to party, go to the clubs, and
And
Yeah.
were you still carrying those feelings of being wrong or being different in some way, being
Oh, yeah.
black and gay? And...
Oh yeah, and worrying about my body. So when I met, cocaine and crystal meth, it made me skinnier. So I felt like it played into a big part of that drug use was like my body, trying to like get to a certain body image, having abs and having all these things that people said made me feel accepted. Because being young and gay, we have this obsession with body, with having, we uplift. I feel like sometimes, this perfect image of a male physique. I think that played a lot into it.
So that perfect image, that's one of the things I'm really interested in, is how the gay community, to me, almost randomly chooses that this young twink, usually white, hairless image is the only archetype of what is desirable.
Yeah.
When I think in the real world, my experience is that there's just so much variety out there. There's so much interest in people who have so many interests in people that in their 50s and their 60s, of all weights, of all sizes, of all races, there's a pot for every lip. But of course we don't know that. No one really tells us that when we're growing up. So then all of that led to you becoming quite suicidal.
Oh yeah, I think the drugs played a part into it. Depression, feeling isolated. They got to a point where I was in a very toxic relationship, and one that wasn't really affirming of me. One that I felt played on my insecurities and used my race kind of as a way of controlling me in a way. The fact that he was fine, older, and this idea I played a role in the relationship, a role that wasn't really me. I remember I could look back on it and I could see myself outside of my body, playing this role as the role whatever people wanted me to be.
And what was the role he wanted you to
Some
be?
people wanted me to be like a dominant thug type, because that's an archetype.
Okay.
It was just a weird. Plus, it was a weird time, a weird time in my life where I just didn't know. I felt very trapped, and I wasn't talking about my feelings.
This was like in your 20s?
I was probably early 20s, so 20. I was probably suicidal from the age of 22 to 25. It just was probably a daily thing where I was thinking about it. There would be moments my boyfriend was like, sometimes I find you just looking out the window and just staring. I was just like, yeah, I was physically there, but I wasn't really present.
And how did that change?
Oh, wow. So I actually, when I was 25, I realized something was wrong. I was like, something's not right about the way I'm feeling. So I took myself to a emergency room. I was like, I think you need to take me to the hospital because I'm having weird thoughts. So I actually, basically put myself in a mental hospital. And that was where things started changing for me. That's when I realized, I have depression, I have bipolar. I started finding out that there's a way to fix all these feelings.
And you actually got that help at a mental hospital?
Yeah, that was the first time I ever talked to someone about my depression. So I was 25, and how. Actually, I have to back up. I tried to commit suicide before I went there, 2 days before. With a bunch of pills. It sounds really. I think I took some ibuprofen 900 or 500s. That's not gonna kill me, but I didn't know. I was just really trying to stop the pain I was in, which is hard to talk about. But yeah, there's a lot of pain. Wow. Whew, yeah, I just wasn't. I was just very lonely. Very lonely. Until my boyfriend found me and got me to put the pills up, and then he left me on the floor to go to a sex party. So that was the relationship I was in. That was the type of person I was around that really didn't care about me. So I took myself off. He always told me I loaded myself off the island. I took my TT torch and put it out. That was the joke he made. Because I just know this island is too crazy for me. I'm just not happy here.
And you literally got yourself off the floor.
I literally got myself off the floor. I packed a bag, all my stuff, my clothes into a garbage bag, and it was snowing outside. I'll never forget. It was this very melodramatic. I feel like if it's a movie's ever made, it's gonna be great. It was snow falling. I get on the bus. And the bus driver, I'm crying. I'm I need to take the emergency room. And it was the beginning of kind of me getting help.
Would you say there's something like a spirit or an energy that carried you, that got you off that floor into that emergency room?
yeah, I think there was something inside me that was like pushing me. I've always been considered to be very resilient. I think I get that from my mom. You know, mom's right. She's like a superhero sometimes, I think. But yeah, I felt like there was something like pushing me, like, you know what, you can do this. Like, just go here and you'll be okay. That was kind of the beginning, like I said, of my journey of rebuilding myself. You know, I also found out I was HIV positive in that hospital, and which I think was the best thing that happened that I found out there, which sounds really weird. To find out, I mean, it was a very surreal moment to find out that I was HIV positive. Yeah, it was just so strange. I can think back now. I remember it was kind of like that moment of like, I'm outside of my body, I'm watching this person tell me I'm HIV positive, and I was just kind of like, okay. And I wasn't really in shock. I think I was just kind of like in a numbing state of hearing the words and being like, okay, that's okay. Okay. And then kind of taking it in, and then when I left the room, that's when I broke down. Like, I had this moment of like, it hit me. Yeah, but I was glad, like I said, I was glad I found out there. You know, because it allowed me to process this.
Within the walls, within the safe. Sounds like the staff was pretty decent.
It was great. I mean, I joke and say it was like my girl interrupted.
Susanna.
Yes, I was Renona. No, yeah, Winona Ryder. Yeah. That's who I was. Yeah, it was this strange moment of like being in this space where I felt safe, I felt taken care of. And yeah, so that was kind of where it all began. I found out I was HIV positive, and where my advocacy began was when I went to the hospital and I started like having to go through the motions of like getting blood work done and having to like find out all these numbers. I didn't know what they were talking about. They're like reading these numbers to me, CD4, all this stuff. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, am I gonna die? Am I gonna what's happening? Because you know there was no real person to kind of walk me through this. So that was when I kind of began this idea of like advocating for myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get a better doctor. I'm gonna do some research. And that was when I went to Howard Brown and became a doctor and that's kind of where I take that with me. Like anyone can be an advocate. I think people kind of think of themselves like only having like be on the front lines and but I'm like advocating for yourself is like the biggest thing you can do.
So you really turned that around from being on that floor, ready to die, to standing up, getting help, becoming an advocate for yourself. And now you're also very much an advocate for others.
Yeah. I mean, there was some stuff that happened in between there. You know?
Yeah.
And like, I went to because I was also dealing with, like I said, dealing with substance abuse, dealing with meth addiction. And so after I went to a treatment center that was specifically for people that were living with HIV. So I got to continue that process of like dealing with this thing that was going to be with me for the rest of my life. And the most beautiful thing I think we did was we had to write a letter to our HIV called Dear HIV. And I got to like write a letter to my HIV.
What'd you say?
I think I was like, you know, hey, we're going to be together forever. You'll treat me good. I'll treat you good. You know, let's just like, you know, let's just work it out. You know, I think it was, that's basically what I was saying. I was like, I love you. You love me. We're gonna treat each other well. You know, it was just this moment of being able to kind of get those words out, which sounded really corny at the beginning, but when I wrote it out, I was like, it helped me.
Wow.
It really helped me.
And it's a relationship.
It is. I mean, it's a relationship. Like, we're going to be together forever.
Yeah.
For now, you know. And I think, and also be around people that were living with HIV who were of all different ages, different backgrounds. I mean, people in that place were people that I would never hang out with. Like, there was guys from guys from like drug dealer, gang, like from the west side of Chicago, like people that I never thought would accept me as being a gay man. They were very loving and accepting me, and I'm still friends with one of them. You know, he looked like Snoop Dogg. I always say he looked just like long hair, like a pimp. Like and he's still a good friend of mine. We still talk. He tells every time I see him. Like this was in 2006, so I'll still see him. He'll talk about his daughter, or my cousin's daughter. She's like, oh, she's in high school now, and so we still have this great relationship from that time. It's kind of a nice connection. You know,
wow.
It's an interesting. I think everything happens for a reason.
Are you gonna write this in a book? This is. I would buy it.
I am.
They have to start as a book to make the movie.
So I am in the process of writing a book.
Okay, great.
It's about like hookup culture and kind of this idea of like experiences I've had during like hooking up with people, and whether like some of them were funny, some of them were sad, some of them were just weird. So I've had I think all gay men, we've got to have this. I'm sure we've all had weird things. Like I've had things where guys want to be like do really weird things. But I talk about it in this way of, you know, how we're all seeking connection, and how a lot of the stuff I was doing, I was just seeking connection with people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be. I'm writing it out. People have always told me to write a book, so I've been working on it for like probably the last year. So I'm hoping it'll be.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Do you have a name or is it?
So the name I came up with is Sex, Lies, and Faggot Boy Games.
I love it.
Because I like the idea. It's about sex, but it's also about kind of my perception of like what really happened and what I think happened. And this idea of looking back and like piercing out things. I've actually had conversations with people that are in the book. It's like, oh man, that's not what really happened. So that's kind of how it came about. Like, what are the lies I told myself to make myself get through to see it?
Wow. Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
So the other thing we were saying is like, I think during this whole lockdown and now this sort of, I mean, there's just a lot of stress even today as we're filming this about a lot of things in the world. I think probably a lot of people are in a way close to being on their floor, or people feeling like they kind of want to give up. What might you say, or what do you say if someone tells you that they're having those kinds of feelings?
I just be wrong. I know you're in a dark place. I've been in that dark place. I was in a dark place a year ago where I was just like, okay, this is it. I can't take this anymore. But just know that you're not alone. Like to reach out to people. That there are people that care about you.
What about people though who do feel alone, or people like who feel like they're in Texas all by themselves and that they're the only one, they're the only black person, or the only queer person, or the only person living with HIV in their town?
Yeah, and they might be.
Yeah.
I'm serious. They might be the only person. I just people. I'm like reach out, find that one person you can trust. Because there's always one person in our lives that I think we sometimes don't really think is there for us. Because I'm always surprised by that. There's always that one person who I think, oh wow, I never thought you would be the one that would show up for me. Yeah, I mean, just trust that there's one person. If you're religious, pray, find whatever it is inside you that I think can get you to that moment. Like I joke about like this last year, it's been about like I think I told you like government sanctioned depression.
Yeah.
Where they're basically like you have to live in your house, you can't leave, you can't talk to anyone, you can't be around people, and that's not how human beings are built. We're built to be social and in spaces with each other, and it was hard for me. At one point I started hugging the pillow just so I can get the feeling of a person, because we need that. So yeah, I just really want to just try to, even if it's phone calls, I think getting out of texting is the big thing. Because I know for me, I hide behind my text messages. I can send you a text message when I'm really feeling like crap. I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling great. But when you're on the phone with someone and they can hear your voice, it completely changes it.
Yeah. So being there for each other.
Yeah, being there. Picking up the phone and calling someone that you haven't seen in a while, because you might need a hug.
So government sanctioned depression. I think I like that term. I haven't heard that before, but it makes so much sense just the way you say it and kind of where we're at.
It's true.
If people want to learn more about you and hear more about your story, or hear more of your insights, where would they go to do that?
Well, I'm really big on Facebook. I have a Twitter, but I don't use it very much. I should probably use it more. But yeah, that and like my Instagram. I think I did an I Am Driftwood a couple of years ago. I think really Facebook is kind of where I really kind of express a lot of my stuff and where I do a lot of my work and share a lot of the work I do. And also, I guess you could always start following me at my job. Through AIDS Foundation Chicago. So, AIDSchicago.org. Where I do a lot of my blogs and
Great. If you could go back 20 years and give yourself one piece of advice.
20 years. Okay.
Knowing what you know now, what would you say to yourself?
I have to go back to when I was 18.
Okay.
Because 20 years, I feel like it's too late for me. So there were decisions already made that I think I would go back to when I was like entering college. I was saying, don't take out all those college loans, and open yourself up. Like, don't be afraid to be Coleman. And find out who Coleman is, not the Coleman people tell you to be.
The real Coleman.
The real Coleman. Embrace that.
Love that.
Embrace some of your weirdness, because you're quirky. Embrace it.
Embrace the weirdness.
Yes.
I mean, that is what I think is really exciting about this time too. We're kind of in this really uncharted territory in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But that also means that there's no blueprint. Like, we get to create the blueprint right now.
Yeah. And I talk to my therapist about this a lot. I'm like, I feel like we're all in a state of like we're gonna be awkward together. We're all awkward. We're not used. We're socially awkward now. I feel like finally this is my time because I'm socially awkward anyway. So like this is my time. I can be around. Everyone will be socially awkward and it'll be great.
Right. We're all in the same weird space right now. So let's just embrace it.
Yeah. Like,
Embrace the awkwardness. I might change my entire series to embrace the awkwardness.
I mean that's
yeah.
It might be another book. Embrace the awkwardness.
Embrace the awkwardness.
Just go for it.
All right, Coleman. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking time to sit with me in the tub, share your wisdom. I look forward to having more conversations and reading the book and learning more about you.
Yes. Hopefully next year.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching YouTube, watching TED Talks with David on YouTube. And stay tuned for another episode coming up. Thanks.
Thank you.
And there's our airplane.
Just in time.